Building Wednesday. Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to another amazing episode. Y'all, this is our fall preview, right? Everybody takes a hiatus during the summertime. You know, all of our favorite shows, because I know one of my favorite shows is Queen Sugar is headed back in September. September is a wonderful month. So we are back for everyone to enjoy this fall with Wealth Building Wednesday. My name is Lydia Chapman. I currently serve as the co-director for TRHT Selma, and I am super excited to be here with each of you all, welcoming you into the month of September and welcoming our very, very, very special guest this morning. She is amazing, Miss Sandy Hesley, who is a HUD certified housing counselor, an NFCC certified credit counselor, and she works for this awesome organization called Lifelines. Miss Hesley, thank you for joining us. The Consumer Credit Counseling Service is a part of Lifelines, and I know we had a very engaging conversation prior to going live. So if you don't mind sharing with us how the Consumer Credit Counseling Service works with Lifelines and just kind of introducing yourself to the people, because you're not just a part of Lifelines. You were saying that you have been in banking for a while, had been in banking for like 27 years.
Yes. Thank you for
if you
inviting
don't mind
me.
just sharing some things about it. Absolutely.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous. Um, this is what you're doing is amazing. I think it's wonderful, it's much needed. Yes, I'm here at Consumer Credit Counseling, Lifelines, and I have been in banking for I had been in banking for right at 28 years, and I started working here in April. And like I was saying earlier, a few minutes ago, I feel like now I've crossed over into my career. Because it's something that you have to be passionate about, and you have to have a love, a drive, and a zeal to do what you're doing, because you are impacting lives. And so I love it here. I'm so thankful, 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 thankful to God that I have this job. I really am. And here, what we try and do is we do a lot of credit counseling. We do a lot of counseling. The majority of the counseling that we do is to help people like first-time home buyers. We do a lot of that. And that's the majority of what we do. But then we also do debt management. We try and help people with their debt, get things, get their debt in order and things of that nature. And so when you come here with us, come here to see us, we give you information packet, trying to get overall view of your financial situation and go from there and trying to help you achieve your goal, which is, let's say, buying a home, things of that nature. But there's so much more that goes on here. As, we were saying before, we got the Rape Crisis Center here. We have the Family Counseling Center here to help with counseling. So it's just so much that's going on. And as Lydia was saying, I might bring my husband here for PTSD. I might need help with my, finances. So it's like a one-stop shop. And, we try and take care of the whole person. And so it's a really great place to be. Like I said, I love it. I'm excited. I'm thankful. So it's a lot here that we do.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot that Lifelines has to offer. I know for a fact that you all offer a lot. When Kelsey, your colleague, reached out about some information in another hat that I wear in our community, and we started just talking and sharing about all of the great things that Lifelines, brings to the table. I said, oh my goodness, you all have like the perfect model. I actually had a conversation with with one of the folks who helps on the administrative end of Wealth Building Wednesday. Big shout out to Miss Carolyn Pickett. She's amazing. And I had a conversation with her. I said, Miss Pickett, this is an amazing way for communities to work through this word called counseling, right? Because that is a curse word to some people.
Yeah.
Unless you put credit in front of it, it seems like it's a curse word. But it's so grateful. I'm so grateful for you all, and understanding that you are here to serve, like you said, the whole person. So now today's topic is student loans. That's two curse words. Now the student part is great, but loans. And I know that a lot of us, we are hoping and praying that our current federal administration will do something to help alleviate the amount of pressure that so many people who are in professions, oftentimes folks graduate. I'm a living testimony. One of them who, when you graduate, you aren't necessarily, you don't have the experience, right? To
Mm-hmm.
walk into a job and garner, a wage where you can actually live and pay your student loan debt back.
Mm-hmm.
That, honey, look, I have a whole story about student loans because oh, we'll talk about it along the way. But like, what exactly is student loan education, and like, why does it matter for us to know more about student loans?
Because and in asking me to when Kelsey reached out to us about covering this, and I'm okay, I'll do it, and I was like, oops, what did I get myself into? And then it forced me to really dive deeper into student loans and doing my research, and I love research. And what I found out is that more than 43 million Americans owe roughly 1.6 trillion in student loan debt.
Wow.
And that number has really tripled in the past 15 years. And a lot of college graduates owe more in student loan debt than they do like credit cards, car loans, and things of that nature. Student loan debt is second to mortgage debt in the US. And that is why it is important for people to know, or know about student loan education. You need to be educated about what it is that you're getting into. So that's why, I feel that it's important. Student loan education is important. A lot of people don't realize just how deep student loan debt goes.
That's, the fact that you just said that student loan debt is second only to mortgages. And when you think about the difference between paying back for an education that you've received versus paying into something like a real investment, not to say that education is not a real investment, but
Mm-hmm.
property, I mean, real estate is a sure investment. I don't care if it's a
Exactly.
beach in the middle of nowhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
because
Yep.
because no more land is going to be created. So when you can invest in real estate, something that will accrue value over the
Exactly.
years, that you can pass down to your family. And understand that Wealth Building Wednesday, for viewers who are unfamiliar to this program, Wealth Building Wednesday, as a part of TRHT Selma, is designed to give people just tidbits of information and connect them to experts. We want to connect people to experts so that we can get our financial acts in order, right?
Yes.
Because when we're able to do things like become homeowners, that means that we can start to create something called generational wealth. And that's something
Yes.
that traditionally Black folks especially have been left behind in this. And I'm sure that student loan debt is something that everybody, regardless of race, creed, or color, we can relate to this thing
Mm-hmm.
called student loan debt. But just thinking about mortgages versus student loan debt, and student loan debt is like right behind mortgages as far as the amount of money that people owe
Mm-hmm.
in this country. Like, that says a lot, y'all. And so we've really got to start thinking, working smarter and not harder when it comes
Yes.
to this, relating to how we're going to pay for our college education, and understanding that not everybody is designed for a 4-year institution.
That's
That's
true.
not everybody's goal, or that's not everybody's thing, if you will, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
recession proof your life, become a plumber.
Yeah.
I don't care how many, I do not care how many computers they make. There will never be a computer that can walk into your house and identify the plumbing issue and fix it all. And, just we've got to learn how to make sure that the investments that we're making are wise investments. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a living testimony, because I promise you, I really shouldn't even have student loan debt. it was only because I chose to go to a school that did not fully cover my education, that I even accrued any type of student loan debt. Like literally the
Mhm.
day I left for Georgetown, the University of Alabama was calling me like, "Well, are you going to come with your for your presidential scholarship?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to DC. Bye." But that's because I wanted Georgetown.
Mhm.
But what I should have been thinking about, and had I had someone like you know, right, in position to say, "Hey, student loan debt is not a good thing. Student loans aren't a great way to fill in the gap when where the scholarship doesn't cover," right?
Mhm.
So had I had that information, I would have made a different decision,
Mhm.
probably. Honey, young and silly, right? But as parent, like as a parent, now I know that life lesson. So I'm already talking to my son about
Mhm.
we're not doing this student loan. What we're doing is we're gonna write checks. We're gonna pay for this thing. So
Yeah.
let's talk about what student loans, like what happens if I've defaulted, right? I've defaulted on a student loan. What's the impact that defaulting on a student loan can have on our credit? Can you face
Oh,
liens or any garnishings because of student
wow.
loans?
It has a huge impact. It affects so much. Defaulting on a student loan could affect, it could cause, they could garnish your wages. They could withhold your tax refunds. They could even take part of your Social Security. So, it affects, it can cause loss of income. To
Mm-hmm.
collect on student loan, again, they can garnish your wages, withhold your tax refunds, things of that nature. It affects defaults and affects the money, more money that you owe, because if it's in default, it's still accruing interest and late fees, and that's just steadily increasing the loan amount. So then you end up owing a whole lot more money. It affects even your career, because defaulting on student loans can put your career at risk. Laws vary from state to state, but your state may revoke your professional license if you default on a student loan. It just depends on the state that you're in. Um, if you default, it could affect your education, because then you're not able to take out more loans to, complete your education. So it just affects so much. It hits your credit, in that, of course, it's going to lower your credit score. Then you look at it affecting, again, your career, because, a lot of places pull your credit for you to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, there you have an issue there. If you need to get a loan for something else, purchase a car, or something, it's affecting your credit. And that's what I see, especially with the home purchasing. First time home buyers coming here to
Mm-hmm.
buy, purchase a home, we pull their credit, student loans galore, and they're not being paid. So it's lowering your score. So that's going to affect you being able to get financing. And if you are fortunate enough to get financing, you're going to have to get it at a higher rate, because it has impacted your credit. So it affects so much.
So now you've said a couple of interesting things. Like I knew that when you fail to pay student loans, that it definitely impact like income tax refunds and things like that. But even your social security can be impacted by student loans. And the fact that you're connecting the dots for us when you talk about the fact that a lot of jobs, and not just mortgage companies, because even if you're not going to purchase a home, your goal may be to rent a home, right? Rent an
Mm-hmm.
apartment. And
Mm-hmm.
when I tell you people run your credit for that, it's
Mm-hmm.
not like back in the day. It's like, hey, yeah, I know you. People
Yep.
run your credit for a job. They run your credit for, of course, a car, apartment leasing. So to know this is a wonderful thing. So now you mentioned that student loan debt, if someone is going into the process to get a mortgage, that you see a lot of student loan debt has been accumulated. So what does it mean to defer student loans? So if would it be helpful to defer student loans? if I'm looking to become a home buyer? Does that make sense to defer?
I mean, it helps in a sense, yes, but at the same time, they know that at some point you're going to have to, make payments. So it just really depends on your situation at that time and what suits you best at that time. Student loan deferment, it lets you stop making payments on your loan or reduce the amount you pay, and it can do that for up to 3 years.
Okay.
So during the deferment period, no interest accrues on the federal subsidized loans, and it gives you a reprieve. But at some point, it's going to have to be factored in. The situation, we're in a unique situation now because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Student
Mm-hmm.
loans are deferred. They've been deferred.
Automatically. Right.
Exactly. And so, from a lender standpoint, I'm not on that end now, but I hadn't foreseen any problems with that. I've had several people that have still been able to get pre-approval, things of that nature. So, but deferment is sometimes that's what you got to have. That's what you need in order for you to be able to get through and to make it. And that's fine. But just understand that at some point, you're going to have to start making those payments.
Woo. All right, y'all. We are halfway in and offering so much information. Let's go straight to our next question, which is about what student loans are actually designed to cover. Like, why should we get student loans, and should it all go to the university or the college that we're paying for, and then the rest of it to buy shoes? Like,
And that's what happens.
so what are student loans designed to cover? How should we use student loans?
You should really use them for, first and foremost, tuition and fees.
Okay.
You have to consider housing. Use them for housing as well. Of course, for textbooks and other supplies. Nowadays, back in the day, in my day, computers were a luxury. Now computers are much needed. I mean, needed just as much as textbooks, if not more so, because a lot of times you get your textbooks, you can look at them on the computer. So it's needed for stuff like that. Get them for your tuition, your fees, your housing, your books, a computer. Keep it there. Keep it. That's really what it should be for.
So, what about folks who may qualify for a higher amount than what they actually need? Say they qualify for 8,000, but in order to cover those expenses you just mentioned, that's done at 5,000. So, should we get that refund, or should we just use the allotted amount for education?
Take only what you need. You should use some self-control. It may look good. That whole 8 may look good. I only need 5, but that 3 would sure look good. You can listen. You can drum up some stuff that you can do now, and you can justify it in your mind.
Right.
I can justify that 3,000. I promise you I can. But be practical. Be sensible. Only get what you need. Because what you have to realize is that has to be paid back. That money has to be paid back. So I'd rather be working with trying to pay back 5 versus 8. So that's how you should really look at it.
So, when it comes to strategies that we can use to pay down this debt, like how do we avoid student loan debt? Like, how can we pay down these debts that we have taken on as a result of perhaps getting the max every single semester? How does that work?
Well, a
What are
lot
some
of
things we should
times
do?
what you should do is when you look at student debt, you need to sit down and what I like to say, because this when I used to do homebuyer seminars way back in the day when I was in banking. We had this saying: if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yes.
So with anything, you should sit down and really plan it out. What do I need? What all am I gonna be needing? Look at the whole overall picture. That way, for one, you'll know exactly how much you need, how much money you need, and you'll stick with that. Also, what you should take into consideration is other things like, do I qualify for work study? Am I going to have, am I able to work while I go to school, at least part time, to help contribute, to my education? Of course, seek out scholarships, things of that nature to help cut down on the amount of debt that you're having to get. So calculate your total debt, and what you need to do is also know the terms of the student loan that you're taking out. What are the terms of it? Itemize the terms of each one of the different loans that you're looking at. Look at the different interest rates. Look at what are the repayment rules. Do I have to start paying as soon as I get out of school? Do I have a 6 month grace period? Things like that. You want to look at the terms, and at some point, look at, am I going to be able to consolidate these debts together to help me later on be able to get a lower payment. Things of that nature. Um, does that answer your question? Because I just went
It
off.
no, it does. And the points that you're making in talking about how we can successfully navigate though and the choices that we ultimately need to make. Um, it really, and when you talk about planning ahead, I've heard that used in several different arenas. When you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And just thinking about the importance of guidance counselors in our high schools, right? And
Mm-hmm.
working with like how you all at Lifelines and with consumer credit counseling, that you all work with the whole person at Lifeline. So regardless of what your need is, that guidance counselors in this day and age, and especially as we're talking about, you said that student loan debt is second only to mortgages in our country, and people are consistently encouraging our young people to move forward into a college education, which is amazing. That's wonderful. That's where innovation happens. That's where a lot of the most creative ideas, Facebook not getting a whole lot of good press right now, but the idea, came about
Yeah.
while Zuckerberg was in college, right?
Yeah.
Um, so this, being in college and having that experience, even the polishing that occurs on a college campus, is an amazing experience. But then to think about, planning and the role that guidance counselors work with the whole family to say, look, mom and dad, these are your child's or your scholars options, right? She has a ton of scholarships. So I know that this is a desire, right? To go to this particular school. However, there are scholarships that are waiting over here. So what I would recommend you, right, or to refer to someone like you to say, listen, in the long run, use those scholarships. Don't try to accumulate all this debt. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
or even if you were going to rely on student loans, use what the bill is on that college campus, right? Use the bill as your guide to what we're getting as far as student loans. Because again, living witness, somebody who got the maximum amount because there was no education in place. And for generations, I know Black folks, a lot of us have been left behind in this information. There's a huge information gap when it comes to balancing our finances and the considerations that we really need to make. So I'm super excited about the responses that you're giving and the guidance that you're helping us with this morning. So now when it comes to navigating, and let's shift this into, because I know home buying is where you have spent a number of years helping people to navigate that space. If
Mm-hmm.
I want to become a homeowner, what are the things that I need to do? Like in this moment, I've defaulted on student loans. I don't know necessarily have um, a credit score that would allow me to borrow money to pay those things off. So they come off of credit and I accumulate other debt. So, and I don't have, look, a windfall of cash coming unless our president says student loans be gone. So how should I work around these loans? Are there things that I can do, say folks who work for nonprofit organizations? Are there waivers in place for people who have accumulated student loan debt and want to get rid of that debt?
What you can do is contact your loan servicer
Okay.
and talk with them. Um, you're exactly right. There are certain jobs that you get if you work for a nonprofit. I think you have to work for them, I think a minimum of 3 years, and you have to make on time payments still, and then they will forgive the balance of those loans. If you work for, um, let's say, a teacher, if you're a teacher, um, loans, your student loans can be forgiven, um, things like that. And then it was one time, and because I knew a med student, and I think if they work like in a certain area, and I'm thinking like in a rural area or something
Yeah.
like that, then the debts, their student loans could be forgiven after so long. So there are ways to get around them. Um, and that's good. But if all else fails, get with your servicer
Okay.
and talk to your loan servicer to see what's available to you. What can you have written off? Things of that nature. And like you said earlier, the government. We're hoping that the government steps in and help because. I mean, I know, I know, I know.
Please.
Yeah, I know. Because it's called student loan forgiveness. It's
Hmm.
really what you're looking for. So you just really have to get with the servicer to find out because certain government organizations, 501(c)(3)s, like I said, teachers, medical doctors, some they're eligible, but you still need to get with your loan servicer to get specifics on how to see how you qualify, see if you qualify for loan forgiveness.
Well, all right now. So now, as expressed, always we are a 30-minute show. We have exhausted almost all of our time, but one of the most important things that we want you to share, because you've dropped so many nuggets today about student loans, we want people to be able to connect to you. So if I have listened to this or I've shared it with my Facebook friends or I have emailed this link out to my niece or nephew in college, how can I connect folks to you? How can I connect to you? How do we get in touch with you?
You can email me,
Mhm.
and you can give me a phone call. I'll be happy to speak with you. And emailing is probably the best way because I'm always in front of my computer, so I can shoot you, respond via email. I can even set up an appointment time to block out time where we can sit down and actually talk. So I'm available and I mean happy to help. I mean, I love what I do. I really do.
Awesome. So I do want to just give folks that email address and telephone number where you can get in touch with our expert for today, Miss Sandy Hesley. She is a consumer credit counseling service staff member. She is a part of Lifelines Counseling. They have an extraordinary model. Don't be afraid of this word counseling, right? So they have credit counseling, they have crisis counseling, they have all sorts of counseling. So they are a one-stop shop for family, wellness, right? From
Mm-hmm.
your look
Right.
from the top of your head and your mental wellness to the bottom of your feet and crossing over your threshold into a brand new home, right? They can counsel you into your next life, into your best life. So want to get you in touch with them. Miss Hesley can be reached at 251-602-0011. Again, that number is 251-602-0011. Her email address is Hesley, and that's Shesley at cccmobile.org, or mobile, as some folks on the news who are unfamiliar with Alabama. I'm like, it's not mobile, Alabama, it's mobile. But it's S Hesley, Shesley at cccmobile.org. So if you are looking for some advice around student loans, home ownership, all of these great things, y'all, ways that we can start to turn the tables on debt and make sure that we're able to invest in generational wealth, things like real estate, things that will help the next generation to
Mm-hmm.
thrive and not just survive. Y'all make sure you reach out to Miss Sandy Hesley at Consumer Credit Counseling Services with Lifelines Counseling. So thank you so very much, Miss Hesley. It has been a pleasure, and we're definitely going to have you back. So you are a wealth of information. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I so enjoyed it, and it was just such an honor. It really was.
Awesome. So we will see you next time, y'all. Don't forget to tune in next Wednesday right here live on Facebook, 10 o'clock a.m. Rebroadcast at 1:30 on WBFZ 105.3. It's Wealth Building Wednesday, brought to you by TRHT Selma.